Well, you might have recalled that for us, the social media was very important in 2014. We were at the time leading in the amount of likes, in the amount of engagement also. I think if the elections were only held online, I think we would have been the biggest political force back in 2014. So the answer to your question is that it is part, no doubt, about a campaign. It has a very important role. It is, however, not the only one at all. And also, I think the battle as such will not play as much on social media as it did in 2014. I think now there are other ways to involve the people, and in addition to social media. So to respond, it is part of the campaign, and I think it will play a slightly, the role has not increased in 2014 in my personal opinion. I think similar to the Barack Obama campaign in the US, I think we also revert back to having mailing campaigns, email campaigns, which is also part of the elements. It is thematic campaigns, engaging people on single ideas, single policies, and then obviously link them to our electoral manifesto. But I think the traditional way of campaigning, of saying vote for this party and you have to take the full lot of it, is not the current solution. I think you go on some specific ideas, and this is how you gather a whole range of people to help you with your cause.
The social media is having an ever-increasing role in our elections, both in a positive in a negative fashion, and I think it's very important for me as campaign director that we look at some of the challenges from social media, how fake news and other messaging can be spread across the continent, but also the opportunities for using these wonderful advances in technology, where we can connect and we can talk and engage and spread our messages through the various social media platforms, you know, in a way that's acceptable and suitable for our European audience. So we'll have a significant place in the next European election, social media will. I think it will have a greater presence than previously. But I also have to say, as the person managing our campaign, that we will not be forgetting about the traditional elements of election campaigning either. We want our MEPs and our candidates from the European Parliament, you know, to get out, to engage across our continent. We want to bring Manfred Weber, our candidate, across, you know, all of our member states to engage, to campaign, to debate. So we will be, you know, working with our parties to have small local dialogues through our Committee of the Region, through our network of local and regional politicians. We will, of course, be encouraging debates and discussions between our candidates on the ground in our member states, between with the support of our commissioners and other senior figures. So social media will have a place, but the other elements of campaigning, hand-to-hand engagement, face-to-face engagement remains a crucial part of European democracy also.
I would say that is the same one that is having in different national elections as we have seen in Europe, but not only in Europe. It's an important role, and that's why it is necessary to have a careful look on those forces that are abusing of the social media themselves in order to promote what goes under the heading of fake news.
This impact will be huge, I think. That's something that we see in the United States with the presidential elections. I think it played a major role in the election of Donald Trump. We see it in Europe as well, where social media are going to be a very interesting way, a means to have a campaign, to conduct an election campaign, because it gives many interesting opportunities to target your voters, and also to have an interactivity with the public, where you can immediately see if one slogan or video is working or is not working. And it's very important that you can fine-tune your campaign and take into account the things that you can easily measure in Facebook, for instance, the number of viewers, the number of likes you get. So yes, social media will play a major role. It will only increase the coming years, and when I see the work that is already being prepared in some of our parties, then I can tell you that there will be an increase of the budgets for social media, and the budget for print media will go down, for instance. Well, yes, there are risks, of course, but the European Union has now a very strict regulation regarding data protection, protection of the privacy of the citizens. We don't always agree with everything in these regulations, but well, you have to take it into account. And the fact is that if you don't want to be in a list, then you have several means of several ways of getting out of this list, and this is important.
Social media have become the platforms with which many, if not most, people connect to the news and are confronted with most advertising. Social networks will therefore play a big role in the 2019 European election campaign, as they have done in most recent campaigns on the local, regional and national level. We have seen both the positive and the negative role social networks can play in elections. The role of the negative, spreading disinformation, fear and disgust, is still an issue that social networks and governments have not completely mitigated. The role of the positive, spreading information, discussion, passion, and interest, as well as providing with an easier two-way communication between politicians and people, will be one of the focuses for the European Green Campaign.